Hi guys, I'm Shmi and good morning to you from Slovenia. We're actually near to the capital Ljubljana visiting the Akrapovic factory because today it's time for Mark's M2 to get some upgrades. Now we're here in advance of the Fuel Faction ENA road tour that's going to be taking us down through the Balkans, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, across and up through Italy and ultimately into France. But it seemed only appropriate that the BMW M2 would get some upgrades before we get started. So today we're going to take a little look around the factory production facility, and the car is going to have upgrades completed. So it's going to have a new exhaust system, downpipe, titanium exhaust, tips and a carbon diffuser too. So we'll see all of that in a moment while the car is getting ready. So we've got some pretty busy times ahead of us, a pretty epic tour for this car to be going on, but let's go have a look at what's going on today. First, let's hear the stock system. The first part of this is to take the car here into the dyno. So the M2 is going to go in and be checked out before all of this is started. In here, the car's not being run per se, it's just going to go up on the ramps. But what we can take a look at is this rather beautifully presented system that is going to go onto this car. So you've got the full titanium twin pipe, the whole system. It's the only M2 exhaust system with two pipes the whole way up. Finished with the carbon fiber, the matte carbon fiber exhaust tip finishes there, with that instantly recognizable logo stamp on the top. Downpipes with catalysts, of course. Non-catalysts would be louder, but obviously illegal also. Mounting brackets, and then the diffuser options. So Mark's car is going to have the gloss carbon diffuser, but it's also available with the satin. So all of this is going to be installed today in here, or under there, I should say. But what a good look, I mean, it's just awesome when you see a system like this. And because it's titanium, when it gets warm, well, when it's been used and it's got hot, it's all going to get turn a little bit blue. But just look at the finishes, it's all the detail and beauty of the thing is extraordinary. All the sorts of welds and joints just look perfect and very, very tidy and neat. What a wonderful thing. Just a shame you can't see it so much when it's on the car, but great to get a good view of it now. With the car going up, we can have a quick look at the system that's going to be coming off. Completely standard stock system. You can see the sort of single pipe that goes all the way down through underneath there. Already looks a little bit dirty. I should just shout out Mark for doing nearly 20,000 kilometers on this car in 4 months. So it's having a very, very good run. Well, this is what's coming out to be replaced with that new one just over there. With the car up there, let's come and take a quick look here at some rather trick computer software. So if you take a look here, what we're looking at is a frequency density map of the exhaust. I mean, you can see through the RPMs, the different cylinders from the engine and where they sort of fire and the different noises you hear. And if anything sort of stood out there dramatically, you could change your prototype or update it based on that. And then here, obviously, you've got the decibel graph through the different gears for the OEM stock BMW M2. So that's all kind of an example of the level of which these things are done, to translate that into the new exhaust system just behind this wall to go onto the car. Now we're above the prototyping workshop, so excuse the background noise, but there are some very exciting things going on. I've just had a quick sort of history lesson about Akrapovic and learnt a lot about where this all came from and how Igor Akrapovic, when he started the company 25 years ago, basically did so as a motorcycle racer. Since then, the company has had numerous successes making exhaust systems in the motorcycle racing industry, motocross, MotoGP, World Superbike, clean sweep of all three, basically winning World Championship titles. They moved into cars, and we'll head through and have a look at one of the Audi LMP1 exhausts. Now this is rather special. This is the first time we're able to take a look at this. This is the exhaust system from the 2010 Le Mans winning Audi Sport R18 LMP1 car. And, well, I mean, you can tell by the way I'm holding it, it basically weighs nothing. I think I can probably lift that up with my little finger. Yep, there we go. That's an exhaust system. So, Akrapovic working with DTM, with Le Mans cars, Porsche GT2, exhaust systems of all sorts, and then most recently at Frankfurt, the reveal of this, the system for the new S63 Coupe with their active crosspipe. So a new system to basically truly tone the sound. And there are sort of four sort of cornerstone parts to these exhaust systems. The design, firstly, look at it, it's beautiful. Everything, even if it's under the car, is sort of welded and created correctly. I mean, all these sort of joins beautifully, beautifully finished. Then it's the tuning of the sound. Like we saw earlier, it's all about enhancing and ensuring the sound is the absolute optimum. Not necessarily too loud. That's one of the things you can get carried away with very easily on an exhaust system. It's not about volume. It's about the sort of tone and quality of it that you're listening to. You've also got the lightweightness, so using titanium, Inconel where required, carbon, of course, parts too, and performance. So every car that comes in to be developed or worked on is tested thoroughly to start, and that goes through various prototyping stages, of course, checking how it's performing, horsepower, emissions, temperatures, and all-around sort of package. So let's move on and check out what's next. So many awards, it's time for a bigger wall or a new office. This is the laboratory for materials testing. Now this, of course, plays a huge part in research and development. So whether it's new materials coming in to be inspected before use, or whether it's a system that's been out there racing and been put through some pretty intense performance, that can then be checked, seen how well the welds have held up and the whole system overall. So that's going to play a huge part in the future sort of products that get developed in here. Now this is very clever. This is a 3D scanner, so you can see here just scanning in one of the Mercedes parts. And this is the reason why the exhaust systems from Akrapovic fit straight into a car. So something like the BMW M2, as we saw earlier, the space underneath the car for the exhaust system obviously needs to be scanned correctly, where the mounting points are and how much room there is for that second pipe. That can all be worked out using the scanners. It means when you've got that resulting exhaust system, you can fit it straight in and it will all just mount up correctly. This is the titanium foundry, effectively where the magic happens and the titanium components are made. And that all starts with one of these, with a wax mold of the eventual piece that's going to be created. That's then covered in a ceramic coating, as you can see here. And meanwhile, the titanium is going through the furnace to be made liquid. It's cast into the mold, and ultimately, you're left with a titanium piece, a lightweight and strong titanium piece. So for example here, we've got a component from the BMW M4, which is a fairly recent product, but the technology is developing, and that's where we have this piece from the Mercedes S63, which, given it's larger, is actually of no extra weight because the material can be even thinner. Now a very cool piece you might recognize is this. Developed in cooperation with Koenigsegg, with Christian von Koenigsegg. This is the exhaust system for the Regera. It's a completely new style of design, obviously, from the way it looks. But that's all made to be lightweight and have the correct kind of sound and tone to the exhaust. So this is kind of a summary of how that works. It's obviously a much more complicated process. Quite interesting to see how it turns out. Behind here is prototyping. That's where things are being developed, but unfortunately, no cameras in there today. Catching back up with the M2, you can see the old system is now completely removed from the car, placed on the floor there. And if we come through and take a look underneath, you can see where all of the components have now left rather large hollow spaces. So the exhaust box was in here, and then the pipes going up through the underside of the car. This is quite strange being stood under here right now. That's all going well. Now it is time for the significantly more beautiful system to be installed. We've been looking around the headquarters and the titanium foundry, but we're going to head over now to the production facility where the exhaust systems are all built under one roof. Fast forward and we've come to visit the new production facility. 20,000 square meters, 600 people working in here, and this is where everything is built under one roof, the complete exhaust systems. So I'm wearing a rather lovely high-vis jacket, but we're going to take a look around this all-new location that they started up in May last year, now fully operational. It's huge. This is for 2D cutting, so you can see you've got the material here. It could be stainless, it could be titanium. That then comes over and goes through this machine where you can see some titanium parts being cut right now. That could be for sort of mounting components or the like. and that's, like I said, titanium and also some steel there before the parts get pressed out and taken on further. This is technically the start of every titanium exhaust. You've got a coil of the material, which then goes out and through the machine, through the tube mill, and comes out the other end. And out the other end, you get a tube like this. Very light, perfectly formed. You can take that a little bit further and add in some bends. So this will be cut into separate components used in different places, but it weighs next to nothing. I mean, one hand for a fairly long piece. If you want to go even further, you can create bends like this. This is all in one single piece, but weighs next to nothing as well. That's crazy. We're in the welding area where there's a mix of machine welding and hand welding. I can't show you the whole area due to some secret projects that are going on, but here the machine is at work. This is an M2 system being worked on, hand welded here. This is the 3D laser cutter, the latest machine here. So the parts are placed in, closes up, and we'll be able to take a quick watch of the cutting happening. And the cut part is ready. Laser engraving is going to happen here of the logo onto the components. Next, we're at the composites workshop. So this is where things such as the M2 tailpipe in carbon fibre are made. That arrives here as pre-impregnated carbon fibre on the rolls there. Comes down to these machines where it's then cut. All the different shapes are cut out right there. We'll keep coming through. It's then collected. All the parts are collected up together. Those then come through to these stations where they're placed right onto the mould here. So this is an M2 exhaust tip being worked on here. Pieces go around both the inside and the outside to make that shape. It then comes through. It's vacuum packed. All the parts are vacuum packed here. They then go into the autoclaves you see behind. A couple of hours later, that's hardened and comes out. It then goes from there in towards the sort of paint shop to get the finish, the lacquer. Finally, you have the resulting piece, which, a fun little touch, is named on the inside so they can see sort of who exactly worked on that piece to make sure that it's absolutely perfectly handled. Final piece in carbon fibre. We're now back with the M2 with its new exhaust system. So let's take a full look under here while it's still up on the ramps. The carbon fibre diffuser looks absolutely beautiful around the exhaust tips here, but just look at how clean and neat everything is underneath. I mean, we've seen how these parts get made now and how they're all put together. Downpipe up in here, but everything just fits so brilliantly and it looks awesome. So let's bring the car down off the dyno ramps here, and then when it's down to the bottom we will be able to hear how it sounds. So Mark, how is it?
Good, really good.
Happy?
Yeah, really happy. Now you rev and I can listen.
So we've got a couple of different modes that we'll show you on the car, but just to hear it for the moment. The car's gone outside and we're going to go check out the different modes in a second, but just beforehand, this is basically the dyno room where cars can come in, obviously before development work, get sort of stock readings versus their performance with new exhaust that can go through various derivatives of prototypes, perfecting the final exhaust system for the ultimate in performance. So a pretty trick dyno solution. Lots and lots of horsepower can be run through that system. Mark's old exhaust from the M2 down here as well. Doesn't look anywhere nearly as nice as the new system does, but let's head out and hear all the different modes on the Akrapovic system for the BMW M2. back up then. We've got a few different modes. Now they're not going to make too much difference when we're parked still. It'll be much more significant when we're driving. But what do we have?
First of all, we have comfort.
So comfort mode.
Yep.
Let's hear that. Okay, then next up,
We go to sport.
so sport makes slightly more noise,
Yep.
but much more audible when we're out driving.
Yep.
But let's just hear it. Okay, definitely a little bit more crackle there. Finally.
We have a special mode which is under the traction button. So you press the traction button, the whole car goes back to comfort, but the exhaust becomes a lot louder.
Okay, let's go check that. Okay then, well, this is a whole lot louder than it was before, and the crackles it makes, the sort of backfires are awesome.
Yep.
Sounds like a
absolutely stunning.
proper noise, and this is the early stages. It's going to get even better when it's been driven.
Yep.
And
it's gonna
been
get
running.
blue.
And it's going to get blue. The tips are going to go blue because they're titanium, same as obviously, well, with any titanium exhaust system. But we're going to be hearing a lot more of this during the rest of the Fuel Faction tour, the ENA tour. Yeah, brilliant. Let's wrap it up there then. A great day today visiting the Akrapovic factory in Slovenia, setting us up very nicely for Fuel Faction ENA over the next week or two. Some amazing roads that we're going to be driving, and now listening to the awesome exhaust on the back of the BMW M2. So a big thanks to everyone for hosting us today. It's been an amazing place to visit, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the video and hearing the new sound of this car. That is it for now though. Make sure you stay tuned for all the Fuel Faction content, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers!